but she really didn't like that look on his face. She stepped forward, putting her small body between Connor and his father. "It was my fault," she said. Arching an eyebrow, Gabriel crouched down, hands clasped in front of him. "Was it now?" Worriedly, she looked back at Connor, then at his dad, and nodded once. Gabriel leaned in and whispered quietly, "Is it your fault, or do you just not want Connor to get in trouble?" In the just slightly too loud whisper of a child, she said, "I don't want Connor to get in trouble." "Ah." He nodded gravely, then stood again, Connor moving to stand beside him. "I think we've gotten things cleared up then," he said, then ruffled his son's hair. Connor grinned at him, leaned against his father, and stuck his tongue out at Elisa. 1. Vampires were made, not born. All except one. All except me. I was the daughter of vampires, born because magic and fate twisted together. I'd spent 19 years in Chicago. Tonight, I stood nearly 400 feet above Paris, several thousand miles away from the Windy City and the houses in which most of its vampires lived. Around me, visitors on the second level of the Eiffel Tower sipped champagne and snapped shots of the city. I closed my eyes against the warm, balmy breeze that carried the faint scent of flowers. "Elisa, you cannot tell Paris goodbye with your eyes closed." "I'm not saying goodbye," I said, "because I'm coming back." I opened my eyes, smiled at the vampire who appeared at my side with 2 plastic cones of champagne. Seraphine had golden skin and dark hair, and her hazel eyes shone with amusement. "To Paris," I said, and tapped my cone against hers. It had been 4 years since I'd last stepped foot in Chicago. Tomorrow, I'd go home again and visit the city and spend time with family and friends. For 20 years, there'd been peace in Chicago among humans and sups, largely because of efforts by my parents, Elisa Sullivan and Merritt, the master and Sentinel, respectively, of Cadogan House. They'd worked to find a lasting peace, and had been so successful that Chicago had become a model for other communities around the world. That's why Sari and I were going back. The city's 4 vampire houses were hosting peace talks for vampires from Western Europe, where houses had been warring since the governing council, the Greenwich Presidium, dissolved before I was born. And vampires' relations with other supernaturals in Europe weren't any better. Chicago would serve as neutral territory where the house's issues could be discussed and a new system of government could be hammered out. "You look, what is the word, wistful?" Sari smiled. "And we haven't even left yet." "I'm building up my immunity," I said, and sipped the champagne. "You love Chicago. It's a great city, but I was a different person in Chicago. I like who I am here." Paris wasn't always peaceful, but it had given me the time and distance to develop the control I'd needed over the monster that lived inside me. Because I wasn't just a vampire. Sari bumped her shoulder against mine supportively. "You will be the same person there as you are here. Miles change only location. They do not change a person's heart, a person's character." I hoped that was true, but Sari didn't know the whole of it. She didn't know about the half-formed power that lurked beneath my skin, reveled in its anger. She didn't know about the magic that had grown stronger as I'd grown older, until it beat like a second heartbeat inside me. Sunlight and